Yo, what's up guys, it's your boy Sami here. Today we are gonna see, what if Naruto were trained by Madara for Chunin exams, movie 2, the last part. Hope you'll enjoy this video. So before we start, please subscribe to our channel, and like this video. So let's get into the video. Everyone stood silently, as they gaped at Iruka, even Sasuke and Naruto, as they had never encountered something like this before. What's going on, Iruka-sensei? Sakura stuttered, completely stupefied by Iruka's sudden appearance before them. Iruka looked at the team concerned. They were covered in dirt and scratches. They must have run into one of the more experienced teams, Iruka thought. He was still amazed that they got to the tower on the third day. Only 2 of the teams had made it so far, and Team 7 was a rookie team barely out of the academy. Looks like you guys had some trouble, Iruka said, his concern breaking his voice a little. Everyone on the team seemed to have been affected by the forest, Naruto the most. He seemed to be diffno. Naruto was definitely different from when Iruka had met him for ramen on the night before the first exam. It was definitely Naruto, only he could wear that atrocious neon orange jumpsuit, but he had changed a lot. Naruto was looking at Iruka with a scrutinizing eye. He didn't want to believe what his father figure told him, especially about Iruka-sensei, and he hadn't found any reason to doubt his former teacher, but the seed of doubt was already planted, and was slowly growing. Iruka could be faking what he was showing outwardly. He had done that for most of his life. Even though he hardly paid attention in class, he had been told repetitively that deception was a shinobi's greatest weapon, and the way in which he understood is that Iruka could be hiding things, and he could never know what was really going on inside of Iruka's head. The suspicion was subconscious, but it was always there, lingering. "Why were you summoned, sensei?" Naruto asked semi-calmly. You could see his body tremor here, and there a small smile spreading across his face. At the end of the second test, it set up that we would greet the exam takers, and I was the one allowed to greet you. "Greet us?" Sakura questioned, tilting her head to the side in confusion. Iruka took out his watch and looked at the time. 3 days 17 hours. A good time. This will allow you to rest for the remainder for the second exam. The second test. Congratulations. All 3 of you passed. If we had time I would have bought you all some ramen. Naruto and Sasuke merely nodded at the confirmation, while Sakura was looking at her teammates tepidly. I have to explain what's on the wall. This is the motto made by Hokage-sama. The heaven in this paragraph refers to the human mind, while the earth represents the human body. If you seek heaven, gain wisdom, be prepared. The third exam will begin in just over a day. Will we rest or go and look around? Sakura asked, managing not to stutter. Team 7 were wandering through the winding corridors of the tower. They had just been dismissed by Iruka, who had told them where their rooms, the dining area, and the room where they were to meet the other passing teams on the 5th day were. Rest. We needed more than wandering aimlessly. There could be confrontations within the tower. Sasuke muttered, his dark eyes scanning the dimly lit hallway, glowing red occasionally. Let's go then. Yawn, I'm tired. Naruto started walking faster, pulling ahead of his teammates. Dope. Naruto turned around. What team? Sasuke pointed to the left, opposite to the direction that Naruto was heading in. Our room is that way. Naruto looked back down at the hallway that he was heading to, and looked back at Sasuke with a faint blush of embarrassment on his face. I knew that. Sure you did come to Sasuke's sarcastic reply. Team. Dope. Top of the tower just afterwards. And the seal is not bothering you anymore, Anko. No, Hokage-sama. That's good, Orochimaru. Hi, I ran into him after I went in search of him. Those bodies were definitely his work, even though I couldn't get an Anbu team out because the evidence was shaky. The Hokage drew a puff of his pipe as he stared down at his paperwork, pondering on what the Takubetsu Jonin had told him. He's after Sasuke, isn't he? Hi, he mentioned that he had marked the Uchiha with the same seal that I have. Anko brushed her fingers against the 3 tomo that lay in a circular pattern on the junction between her neck and shoulder. I don't think that the Gaki can survive it though. I barely did all those years ago. Sasuke-kun has a strong will. I'm sure that he will survive and be able to fight off the temptation to use it. If you say so. There was a knock on the door, breaking up the discussion. Junin Yumino to see Hokage-sama. The Anbu by the door announced after he had checked as to who was wanting entrance. Let him in. The door opened, revealing a troubled Iruka standing there. Iruka walked in, and stood in front of the Hokage's desk. Hokage-sama. Hello Iruka, back from greeting a team in. Hi Hokage-sama, but the reason I'm here actually. Was there a problem? Iruka looked down at his feet sheepishly. Not exactly Hokage-sama, it's about Naruto's team, Naruto, and Sasuke specifically. What about Naruto-kun and Sasuke-kun? Sarutobi leant forward on his desk, his usually jovial expression replaced by seriousness. As Orochimaru, taking an interest in Naruto-kun, as well as Sasuke-kun. Were they both marked? It seemed that Sasuke was in pain, holding the side of his neck like this. Iruka took hold of his right shoulder. But Naruto has changed. Changed? Anko asked, her worry amplified by the possibility that another had been marked with Orochimaru's cursed seals. Iruka scratched his scar nervously. It's hard to explain, to be honest. You would understand better if you saw him. The Hokage frowned, reaching down into one of his drawers and taking out a glass orb, placing it down onto his desk and holding his hands over it. Images started to race across it before it stopped at a dimly lit room that was occupied by two people. They were easily recognized. Sasuke by his duck butt hair and Sakura by her bright bubblegum pink. But where was Naruto? Sarutobi's question was answered the next moment as someone walked into the room. Sarutobi gasped softly as his mind jumped to another person as soon as he saw that face and hair. But he could tell that it was Naruto. The orange jumpsuit was Naruto's trademark, even if the legs now barely reached Naruto's ankles, and the sleeves stopped short on his wrists. The faint whisker marks also confirmed the identity of this boy. Hiruzen only had one thought when he saw the new Naruto. How? We sealed it away after we found out. I'll have to speak with him about this. Time passed quickly in the tower for Team 7, there wasn't much to do other than rest, and wait for the exam to end. Two teams were already at the tower, the Suna team Gaara, Temari, and Kankuro, and a team from Maine, according to Kankuro, who responded briefly as they passed, but they didn't come out of their rooms at all that they were aware of. An Arutoe Madara sealed up Sasuke's mark as soon as they got into their room. It was done quickly so it wasn't a permanent fix. Madara needed to analyze the mark in order to fully seal it off or remove it, but they were working on it. The days flew, and only a few other teams had managed to make it to the tower. It was on the fourth day when Team Guy had walked in tiredly, waving half-heartedly, as they carried semi-consciously along with them. Early on the fifth day, Kabuto's team had arrived. They were a little scuffed, but they seemed alright. Naruto noticed, however, that Kabuto's eyes seemed to linger on him a little longer than the rest of his teammates, but that was expected. Naruto looked a lot different than before. The day passed on, and it seemed that no other teams were going to make it to the tower in time for the third task, but the teams were surprised when Team 8 turned up visibly tired, and their clothes were torn up, some just at the end of the exam. The exam had now ended, and the teams made their way to the main hall. When Team 7 walked in, Naruto looked around and took in his surroundings, noting the large empty area that was the ground floor, and the raised balconies that overlooked the area. The raised platform had a huge statue of a hand in the ram seal at the back. Naruto looked back at the balconies, and noticed that the senseis of the teams were already there. Kakashi sensei stood there with Kurenai. Wasn't it? Teammate sensei and that green spandex wearing things, he was the sensei for Team 9, if he remembered correctly. They were chatting amongst themselves quietly, but when Naruto's team walked in they froze, and stared at him intently. Actually everyone there was staring at him. The Suna team and their sensei were staring at him curiously, but they turned away as soon as Naruto looked at them. The AIM team looked at him intently before the red-haired girl turned and ran up to their sensei, who wore a typical uniform and had blue hair. There was also a paper flower in her hair, curious, and started talking rapidly, but he couldn't hear what they were saying from the distance. But when the girl had finished and the woman had responded, both females looked at him with wide eyes. The red-haired girl ran back to her teammates and said something else to them, which made them all look at him with wide eyes also. The Konoha teams were also staring at him oddly, specifically Kabuto's sensei, who looked at him hungrily. His chakra felt weird as well. What's going on? Is it everyone stares at Naruto Day or something? It's getting annoying. Naruto thought of turning his head to the front where the Hokage, the crazy proctor lady, and the assorted Anbu were also staring at him. Oh come on. Fuck this shit. Naruto crossed his arms and glared at everyone, making the Hokage's eyes widen even more if that was possible. You have changed quite a bit, Naruto. The old man probably recognized the looks. He was alive in my day, he was only a little genin then though. It's a surprise that he could remember that far back. You resemble me a bit too much. Maybe we should have waited. Madara was cut off by Naruto shouting. No? I don't care. Let them all stare if they want. It's all they ever do. If they have a problem they come to me and say it. Very well. Be cautious however, a lot of attention will be gathered here today, and even more than necessary if you are not careful. Hi. Naruto drew back his attention to the outside world, where the Hokage was explaining that there were going to be preliminary matches before the third task. And now for the first fight, a sickly-looking man finished looking at the crazy proctor lady that stood next to the Hokage. She said something into a headset, and an electronic board was revealed out of a wall. It began spinning through names, and stopped landing on two names. Uchiha Sasuke vs Okada Yoroi. Will Uchiha Sasuke cough, and Okada cough, please stay here, and the rest of you please cough, leave to the viewing area. Cough. Everyone milled around a bit before leaving to stand beside their senseis. Naruto caught up to Team 9 just before the stairs. Haka. Neji turned around and looked at the Madara look-alike with narrowed eyes. What? Naruto woke up and stood directly in front of Neji and Tenten, speaking quietly so no one could hear. His position made it so that no one could read the lips of the two talking. One curious observer could, however. I would appreciate it if you didn't mention what happened in the forest to your sensei or anyone else for that matter. I have plans, and you blurt out my secrets to anyone, and everyone could cause them to fail. Neji crossed his arms and glared at Naruto with his white eyes. What's in it for me? Why should I stay quiet? Naruto drew back a bit. He hadn't anticipated this response. He had only remembered just now that he had not told the others to stay quiet. This was an impromptu thing. He hadn't planned at all. Idiot, you should always have a plan. Doesn't matter now, it is not your fault that you are unprepared for this. I will help you now, but you will have to learn to plan for unexpected situations. Mentioned that you can do something about his seal. Seal? He has a seal. Where? His forehead is covered by his hit eye. It's a seal that has been used by the Hokage for decades, the caged bird seal. Okay, Naruto looked over to Neji, who was still glaring at him. Naruto leaned forward, close enough that his mouth was right next to Neji's ear. Oh? I think that if I tell you that I can do something about that seal of yours, Neji, wouldn't want to give up such an opportunity to be free from your cage, wouldn't you? Little bird. Naruto smirked and poked his index and middle finger right in the middle of the long-haired boy's hit eye, right in the center of the engraved leaf, before walking past the Hokage sign and up the stairs, not looking back at Neji. He stood frozen where Naruto left him. Sakura already stood next to Kakashi, both of them looking at him with inquisitive looks. What was that, Naruto? Sakura asked, her messily cut hair swing as she tilted her head. Kakashi looked up from his book and looked at Naruto lazily. Naruto just looked at his teammates blankly before going to stand by the railing, leaning his elbows on it and looking down at Sasuke and that Yoroi guy who was now fighting on the ground. I don't see why you want to know. What goes on between Neji and I is none of your business. Naruto turned around and looked at Sakura with a raised eyebrow. Shut up and don't talk about it again. But Naruto. Mama, Sakura-chan, leave Naruto-kun alone for now. If he wants to keep his secrets, that is fine, don't pry. He'll tell us if he wants to. Kakashi looked up from his book, absent-mindedly turning a page, as he gazed lazily at the former blonde boy. If you looked closer, however, you could see that Kakashi's eye was narrowed a fraction of a fraction. Sakura looked at Kakashi in frustration. He was supposed to back her up in this. Just watch Sasuke-kun's fight. For now, Kakashi had gone back to reading his porn. Sakura huffed and turned back to the edge, watching as Sasuke delivered a debilitating series of kicks to Yoroi, sending him down to the ground in a crash of tile. Shishirendan. Sasuke landed back on the ground gracefully, his Sharingan fading from the blood red of the Sharingan to the dark onyx it usually was. Winner, Uchiha Sasuke. Sasuke smirked at his downed opponent and walked away. Naruto looked at Sasuke with a small smirk on his face. That was over quickly, never even got a chance to see it with the rest of our team nagging at me. Sasuke's smirk widened and his black eyes glimmered in amusement. Oh? Shame then, nevertheless my performance is better than yours probably will be. You just don't have the skill that I do, dope. Again with the dope, I thought we got past that team. Anyway, I'll be better than you soon enough. Speak for yourself, you're just as bad as me with the theme, think you? Better than me. We'll see. Sasuke stopped beside Naruto and leaned over the railing in the same manner that Naruto did. Sasuke said nothing in response, but his smirk spoke volumes. The rest of Team 7 and the surrounding teams just watched the byplay, wondering what had happened between the two. Well then, let's see how you do. Ha. Naruto looked up at the board which had just stopped running through names. Uzumaki Naruto vs Inizuka Kiba. Ha. See that, Akamaru, we got the easy one. I'll beat Uzumaki to a pulp easily. Kiba shouted out in glee, his voice carrying far across the room to where Team 7 stood. Easy. I'll show him easily, Naruto muttered under his breath, turning around to walk over the stairs. Good luck, Naruto, Sakura said, although her eyes were hesitant. Sasuke scoffed. Naruto doesn't need luck. He'll wipe the floor with that mud easily. See you back up here soon. You bet, Sasuke. Naruto turned back around and headed towards the stairs, raising a hand in a lazy wave as he went. As Naruto descended the stairs, Madara spoke up from the depths of his mind. Don't use the Sharingan here, it's best to keep that hidden. Why? It will be an easy win if I use it. You want to reveal everything we have tried to keep hidden just for a minor fight like this. You won't need it, the Inizuka can be taken down easily, you just have to exploit their weaknesses. Weaknesses? I won't tell you that, you need to work out these things for yourself. A hint, however. Contain him. Without maneuverability, he is useless. That's all I'm going to tell you, use all the resources you have. That's helpful, Naruto retorted sarcastically. He looked out ahead where Kiba stood arrogantly with his puppy Akamaru standing next to him. Naruto noticed that Kiba stood a little in front of the dog in a subtle defensive way. Weaknesses, huh? I feel bad for you, Naruto, so I'll end it with one punch. Naruto smirked darkly at Kiba, making the Inizuka and many of the watchers shiver slightly. Will you now? Go on then, end it. Right then. Akamaru stayed back. I wouldn't need you in this. Gijnin. Shikyaku no Jutsu. Imitation Beast Ninja Art. 4 legs technique. Kiba got onto all fours, and a shroud of chakra erupted from him, changing his looks to be more feral. Claws grew from his fingernails, and his facial features grew more feral and dog-like. You're going down, Uzumaki. Suga passing Fang. Kiba started rotating rapidly, and soon was fast enough for him to look like a massive fang-like drill. As he attacked Naruto, he stood and watched. Contain him, he. Naruto smirked. Easier said than done. Kiba was advancing fast. He was almost right in front of Naruto, on course to rip the long-haired boy to shreds. Just before impact, Naruto stepped neatly to the side, just as the human drill that was Kiba impacted the ground where Naruto stood only seconds before. Kiba bounced up and continued up towards the ceiling before he suddenly stopped spinning and hovered in the air for a few seconds before locking his eyes on Naruto and once more spinning and becoming a massive fang-like drill. Stay still so I can hit you. Damn it. Naruto jumped aside once more as Kiba drilled the ground where he stood. This process repeated 5 more times, each miss making Kiba more and more frustrated. Stay still. What kind of fool would stand still in front of a rotating drill of death at a request of an enemy? Not me anyway. Naruto was taunting the feral boy now, a plan in mind. Kiba had landed next to his dog and was baring his teeth threateningly at Naruto, a low growl rumbling in his chest. Is the little doggy mad? Better get back to your owner then. Wouldn't want you attacking anyone else here, you rabbit mud. Uzumaki. Kiba charged forward. Kiba was incensed by Naruto's taunting. He never noticed Naruto's smirk. The two engaged in combat, punches and kicks being exchanged between the two rapidly. Naruto ducked under a roundhouse punch and swung out his leg and lashed out with a rib-breaking kick which threw the feral boy back several meters. Kiba landed on his feet and reached down with a hand to steady himself. He charged forward once more only to be met by 3 cage buncheons. Naruto stood back and watched as the clones were quickly taken down by Kiba. He channeled chakra throughout his body, careful to avoid his eyes. He could barely keep up with the boy, as it was. Naruto drew out a few shuriken and shot them towards Kiba. A few hit directly on, but others passed by and cut shallowly on Akamaru, making the dog jump in surprise. Akamaru. You bastard. Kiba charged forward disregarding technique in order to pummel Naruto to pieces for daring to harm his Akamaru. He was so blind in his rage that he didn't notice Naruto's arrogant smirk widened into a mad grin as the raven-haired boy reached back into his shuriken pouch and drew out a scroll. Naruto flung the scroll out in front of him, unraveling it as it went, revealing a line of identical seals. Uzumaki storage seals, the older shinobi muttered reverently as they recognized the seals on the scroll. Kakashi-sensei, what's that Naruto's got? Sakura asked. Sasuke turned back slightly, also curious. He couldn't recognize the seals at this distance, even with his enhanced eyesight. Those are storage seals, Sakura-chan. I wonder where Naruto-kan got the scrolls from. He hasn't used them before. That was all that Sakura responded with. Back down in the arena, Kiba had stopped his charge, having enough sense to stop and see what the threat was. Akamaru crept forward nervously in the background, unnoticed by the two combatants. Naruto bit his thumb, drawing some blood and swiped it across the first seal. Something appeared, but the observer's sight was blocked by the plume of smoke that normally preceded an unsealing. The smoke cleared, but nothing was left on the paper, making everyone curious, as Naruto held something small in his hand. Several more puffs of smoke appeared around Naruto and disappeared to reveal 6 cage buncheons. Naruto handed something to them, and they spread out around Kiba in a general circle shape. Kiba was looking around wildly. That smirk on the orange-wearing boy's face didn't look good. All the buncheons threw something down on the ground at once. Only those with a quick eye could see the small gray pellets that flew from the hands of the Naruto clones. The arena was filled with a thick gray smoke, covering the sight of the two boys and dog from everyone else. Niji and Hinata tried to see through the smoke with their Byakugan, but could only see vague shapes. The smoke is threaded with chakra, Niji muttered, amazed. All of a sudden Kakashi sneezed violently, several times. The silver-haired man rubbed his nose with his sleeve sheepishly, looking up to most of the room staring at him. Sorry. He waved his hand in front of him nonchalantly. The smoke made me sneeze. Everyone looked back to the floor, noticing that the smoke showed no sign of disappearing. They could also hear 2 sets of sneezing in the smoke. Sasuke's eyes widened. He's put some kind of smelly irritant in the smoke to stop Inuzuka from smelling where he is. Ha, that's Naruto for you. Everyone who had heard looked curiously at the smoke. They could smell something off about the smoke if they really tried. Back in the arena, Naruto was unsealing more and more kunai, all of them connected to separate spools of ninja wire. That'll do it. He summoned another 2 cage buncheon. Get the dog, he ordered. Aye aye sir, the 2 mocks saluted and ran off into the smoke, red eyes barely visible. Using the Sharingan to see through the smoke, ha, good idea to me. Naruto channeled chakra to his eyes and turned on his own Sharingan, using the ability to see chakra to locate the 2 chakras seen as some sort of flames in the smog. Naruto smirked. Too easy. He started throwing kunai in seemingly odd directions, but as they piled up you could see a sort of shape forming from the overlapping wires. The smoke began to fade, making everyone, even Gaara, lean forward curiously. Many eyes widened as they saw the intricate cage of wires that held the panicking figure of Inuzuka Kiba. As the smoke faded more, they could see two Narutos holding the shaking Akamaru. One held a kunai to the puppy's neck. The smoke was completely gone now. Everything could now be seen down in the arena. The only thing to add was the smirking figure of another Naruto who was walking steadily towards Kiba. The onlookers concluded that this was the real Naruto. Naruto blurred and silently landed on top of the cage where the wires all overlapped. He drew a kunai from his thigh holster and held it in a reverse grip. Naruto looked down at Kiba and smirked even wider at the scared look on Kiba's face. As the dog-like boy kept glancing between the real Naruto and the two clones holding his precious dog. "Let Akamaru go, you bastard." Kiba roared, his fists clenching at his sides. He involuntarily whined when the kunai was pressed closed onto the white dog's neck. "Do you forfeit?" Naruto asked softly. "The dog will live if you forfeit." A small line of blood running down snow-white fur made Kiba panic. "Yes. I forfeit, I forfeit. Now let Akamaru go." "Very well." Naruto motioned to his two clones who let the dog down on the ground and dispelled, leaving only smoke behind. Naruto shook his head slightly as he gained the memories and thoughts of his clones. "Interesting, I gained the memories of my clones, I'll think on this later." He dropped down outside the wire cage and cut an inconspicuous wire at the edge of the structure, making the whole thing collapse neatly into bundles of wire and kunai which Naruto sealed back into his scroll. Kiba ran to his shivering dog and gathered it into his arms, muttering soft comforts into the floppy ears. Naruto just turned and ascended back up the stairs, not taking notice of the glares being sent to his back. "Well done, you did well." Regretfully, Sasuke said, as Naruto rejoined his team up on the balcony. Sasuke just laughed and turned back to the arena. Naruto went and stood next to him, sighing softly in content as his blood started to stop rushing through his body, incited by the thrill of battle. The silence didn't last long, as someone shouting drew him out of his musing. "Naruto Baka." Naruto turned and got a brief look at pink hair before his head was snapped to the side. A ringing slap echoed through the room. Naruto's hand came up slowly and cupped his hand over his cheek, a red palm print already forming. Everyone was staring at the pink-haired girl in astonishment, looking between the emotionless Naruto and the panicking Sakura and wondering who was going to snap first. Naruto looked up at Sakura, who was now looking at her hand in abject horror. Teal eyes flicking from her hand to Naruto's face, she started shuffling backwards, wary of the oppressive aura being emitted from the long-haired boy. "Sakura," he spoke softly, an undertone of danger lurking beneath the calm facade. The girl started, her gaze flicking up to Naruto's blank face more frequently. "Hi." Her voice quivered. Naruto walked forward slowly, his footsteps echoing faintly as he walked. He quickly reached Sakura, who was trying to get away. The wall at her back, however, stopped her from retreating further. Sakura was now trapped between the wall and Naruto. She looked back at her hand and noticed that it was shaking violently. Was she that scared of her own teammate? Naruto reached forward with his hand and held it just centimeters away from her cheek. He debated about what to do for a few moments, not noticing the flinch from Sakura as he hand-neared her cheek. Naruto decided to respond like she had. An eye for an eye. An even louder smack than before resounded through the room. Sakura stumbled from the backlash and fell down to the floor, her eyes watering with the pain in her reddening cheek. She raised her hand to touch the tender skin in a mirror of what Naruto had done mere moments before. Naruto looked down at Sakura and sneered slightly before walking back to stand with Sasuke, ignoring the stares from all the Konoha ninja. The foreigners didn't care enough to watch. Well, most of them. "Oh, bitch slap. Itai. Chihiro-chan, why did you do that?" The blue-haired anime shinobi turned to his red-headed teammate pouting, his hands shielding the back of his head, in case he was slapped again. "Kaido, we're supposed to be on a mission for Leader Sama, and you're fucking about. Shut up before you break our cover." Kaido looked at Chihiro incredulously, "But I'm not doing anything to break our cover." Chihiro turned to her other teammate, Baka. "At least Haruka is taking this seriously," she muttered. Haruka turned to the other male in his team, who was making rude gestures to Chihiro's back. "Kaido-san, your shouting and complaining is detrimental to our current mission. As Chihiro-san has said, your actions will not be tolerated. If you don't take this seriously, we can just make you forfeit and send you back to Omegakure. Then you can explain to Leader Sama why the mission has failed." The raven-haired boy's voice was monotone as he spoke, not even an inflection of emotion visible on his pierced face. "You have nothing to complain about, asshole. Just because your Leader Sama's favorite doesn't mean." He was interrupted by the quiet but hard voice of the oldest of the group. "Quiet, Kaido. Another match is starting." "Hi, Konan-sensei." The blue-haired boy mumbled, his leaf-green eyes glaring at his other teammates. "Will Sabaku-Chamari and Tenten come down to the fighting area, please?" "Naruto-kun." The former blonde turned to look at Kakashi and frowned. The older man just gave an implied smile with his only visible eye and motioned for the genin to follow him with a lazy wave. Naruto walked with his hands in his pockets as they made their way through the quiet hallways of the tower. the muffled sounds of fighting fading away as they walked further and further away from the main hall. Kakashi led him up 3 flights of stairs before they reached their destination, which was a dimly lit room. The room was occupied by a small crowd of people, many, Naruto was sure were still in the preliminary exam room. Must be shadow clones, he thought. Rather foolish of them. Much to his surprise, the Sandaime Hokage stepped out from the shadows and stood in front of Naruto. His usually friendly and grandfatherly face is gone, replaced by the real Hokage. The Hokage had been through all 3 of the Shinobi World Wars and had been handpicked by the Nidaime, Senju Tobirama, as the successor to the throne of Konohagakure no Sato. Genin Uzumaki Naruto. The Hokage started. There have been several concerns brought to my attention these past few days, in the wake of the preliminary examinations, and the few days beforehand wherein you and your team arrived early. Would you please recount, from your own point of view, the events that occurred during your time in the forest for the second exam? Naruto blinked and cast his eyes across the room, recognizing few faces among them. The proctors for the first few exams among them. Sighing, Naruto set himself to recount the altered version of events that he and Madara had decided would be detailed enough to satisfy his interrogators, but vague enough to conceal the delicate details. On the first day, after encountering some deception and a trap laid out by a team of Kiri shinobi, our team encountered the disguised form of the traitor Sannin, Orochimaru. Well then, Uzumaki Naruto, we will send you back to the main hall to fetch Genin Uchiha Sasuke. You may leave. The Hokage looked at him a little less harshly and gave a small smile. Hokage-sama. Naruto gave a quick bow and left the room, shutting the door softly behind him. Turning round, Naruto headed back the way he came. His soft sandals made small thuds as they met the ground. Suddenly, he stopped and looked sharply to the left. Coming out of the shadows was Orochimaru himself. An intriguing tale, Naruto-kun. The man's yellow, slit eyes gleamed in the murky light. So intriguing. For a false story. Naruto raised an eyebrow and slightly lowered his mask, sneering at the snake-like man. He leant against the wall and crossed his arms across his chest, his motion mirrored by Orochimaru who stood across the room. What of it? Naruto demanded. Nothing. The snake assured me. You just interest me, Naruto-kun. After the events in the Forest of Death, I thought that you would have been rendered useless by my seal, and therefore clearing the way for Sasuke-kun. You thought wrong. Naruto murmured. Yes, I did. Orochimaru agreed. But these circumstances have revealed some new players to the field, and removed some. Orochimaru's eyes darted to Naruto's abdomen, and flicked up to blue-ringed obsidian eyes. Naruto narrowed his eyes, and glared at the Sannin accusingly. You no longer contain the Kickbee, do you, Naruto-kun? It has been replaced by something different, something greater. Eyes wide, Naruto quickly conferred with Madara to seek his opinion. How does he know? Sensor. The man can most likely feel the absence of such a powerful chakra. Anyone who is even a tiny bit sensitive to chakra could feel the change in you. It will be harder to conceal your change if there are many of the weak Konoha shinobi that are chakra sensitive or chakra sensors themselves. We must talk later on this. Naruto-kun. The Uzumaki snapped out his thoughts and looked up at Orochimaru, who looked rather pleased with himself. You were just communicating with whatever's inside you, weren't you? TCH. Naruto got up from his relaxed stance against the wall and began walking away, his steps echoing in the dark. Oh, Naruto-kun. Naruto stopped and looked over his shoulder at Orochimaru, who was walking closer. Stopping next to the Konoha genin, Orochimaru leaned forward and whispered in Naruto's ear. You have interested me, Naruto-kun. As a reward I will let you in for a little secret that may intrigue whom I suspect resides in you. The man paused and breathed softly in Naruto's ear, making the boy shiver. The snake man's voice dropped, becoming so quiet that Naruto had to strain to hear. During the final exam, I will be invading Konohagakure with my forces. Naruto's eyes widened and his mouth hung open a bit. I will be killing my former sensei, the Sandaime Hokage, and I will resurrect those who preceded him, the Shodai and the Nidaime, to fight against him before I do so. If I feel so inclined, I may let you battle against the two, cementing your loyalty to Konoha. Which you may need until you are strong enough to leave this wretched village, as I did all those years ago. Naruto could feel Orochimaru's smirk against the sensitive skin around his ear. Do as you wish with this information, just don't ruin the surprise, okay? Naruto nodded faintly, and looked ahead at the shadowy corridor with wide eyes, not noticing when Orochimaru stepped away and faded into the shadows, a wide smile on his face. Let's see how you do with this, Naruto-kun. Kukuku. To all of you who won the rights to compete in the third round of the Chunin exam. The sickly man paused to give out a raking cough. One is missing, but congratulations to you all. Naruto walked in at that moment, making the 7 genin standing in the middle of the room look over to him, as he closed the doors. Ah, our last finalist joins us. Come over quick. Naruto, instead of moving faster like instructed, took his time to make his way across the room. Moving nimbly though the ruined remains of the fighting area. The floor was cracked and lifted in places, and there were massive craters dotted about the place. Looking at the remaining contestants was useless in determining the source of the destruction, as Naruto was called away before he could watch most of the matches. Shit. That means that I don't know what I'm up against either. We are at a distinct disadvantage indeed. Madara confirmed. Coming up to stand next to Sasuke, Naruto looked up at the sick-looking proctor, and raised an eyebrow at the pointed look the man was giving him. Well, that's all I have to say. Hokage-sama, if you would please. Giving a last look over the Chunin prospects, the man stepped away, and joined the proctors from the last 2 exams up on the raised platform, starting a conversation in low whispers, as soon as he joined them. Thank you, Hate. Now, I will start explaining the main test. The prelims have ended, and they will begin the finals. Birds chirped their songs, and a low rustle of leaves sounded in the distance, a low breeze making the expansive sea of trees dance. It's so serene. No. I've become accustomed to peace in a time when it's said that other countries are busy strengthening their forces. The white-haired man turned to his master, and adjusted his glasses. Could we take it now? A smirk. Yes. Though I'm not sure there will be much fun in taking the head of that geezer. Is that so? The man replied. Orochimaru looked down to the wooden planks that made up the floor, as he reminisced on days long past. It seems to me that you are still hesitant to act. Kabuto stated. From now on, the various hidden villages will fight against each other in a long and intense battle. A Togaku is among them. Kabuto lifted his hand up near his chin. You intend to be the trigger to all this. Orochimaru looked up and pinned his hard gaze on the musing spy. He's the bullet for that purpose, isn't he? Kabuto pushed up his glasses again and looked over to the exiled snake sage. Uchiha Sasuke-kun, was it? He questioned. Orochimaru smirked and gave out a low chuckle. You're so intuitive that it's scary. But, you have forgotten one important variable, Kabuto-kun. You have forgotten Naruto-kun. Kabuto blinked and looked over to Orochimaru confused. Uzumaki Naruto-kun. He's just a weak, unimportant factor in our game. Just because he has gone through a change in looks doesn't mean that he becomes more of an interest. That's where you're wrong, Kabuto-kun. Orochimaru smirked wide into a mad grin. The host of Uchiha Madara, the most powerful Uchiha in the history of Uchihas, would become an interest. Don't you think so? Kabuto's smug look quickly slackened to one of shock, his glasses sliding down his face, as he looked incredulously at Orochimaru. But, the Kiba no longer resides within Naruto-kun. How? I don't know. But, it proves to be an intriguing development in any case. The end. Thanks for watching my video, leave a like if you enjoyed my video, and also do consider subscribing to my channel for more awesome content.